Hey, this is We Called It. We are live with our second part on talking about NFL win totals. Last week we covered the top half of the league. This week we're covering the bottom half. This week, this is a lot more exciting because these are the teams in the draft, high draft picks. So the speculation around the draft is highly going to influence. We will be covering it. It is best to get these teams now, which is why we're covering before the draft. Because once they make their draft picks, everyone's going to be hyped, right? When Bryce Young is a Texan, when CJ Stroud is a Panther. Everyone's gonna be hyped. They're gonna be betting up their team, thinking good things are gonna happen. We're gonna give you all the inside knowledge before that happens. That way you can get slightly better odds, slightly better number, I guess, lines for it. 7.5, I think it's Panthers. Before we start there, I'm joined with Connor Lucas. How are you, Connor?
Yo, so I don't think CJ Stroud being an automatic choice for a Panther is a done deal. I think there was a rumor that came out that said Frank Reich, actually, because he has Andy Dalton, is fascinated with Anthony Richardson, but the rest of the place, all of ownership and coaches, wants CJ Stroud. So this is a classic Kyle Shanahan versus the San Francisco 49ers organization. Supposedly. Rumor mill.
So
hot take of the day.
I was to say, I think I brought up when we talked about stuff a while ago was if I'm trading up, I'm not trading up for CJ Stroud. That guy, I think he's going to be a fine quarterback. He doesn't have the tools to wow me. When you're talking about wow factor, there is nothing better than Anthony Richardson, kneeling down and hitting the ceiling on a pass and stuff. So I get where Frank Reich is coming, but there's a clip of Josh McCown going up saying we're going to have to hoop together or something to CJ Stroud at his pro day. So that's why I'm thinking Stroud's still number one.
CJ Stroud is just going to be like, his floor is going to be like Alex Smith. His peak is going to be like, or Alex Smith, or even probably more Jared Goff. His like ceiling is Joe Burrow, just being so like typical pocket passer, can move around the pocket, very, very quick, can make all the throws, but doesn't have like this cannon of an arm, but he's incredibly accurate, reads the defense, more or less the opposite of Justin Fields, and Joe Burrow, is elite at what he does because of his decision making. That's his ceiling. Those are his sensitivity analysis, if you would say.
All right, so put one of those on Anthony Richardson right now. Are we talking Jamarcus Russell on the low end and Cam Newton on the high end?
Okay. Last year, floor is Malik Willis, which is get replaced by Josh Dobbs. Seriously, I mean, Malik Willis was like the talk of this time last year, if you remember. Then he fell to like the fourth round. Okay, so he's maybe got more upside than that, rushing upside. So let's say Malik Willis plus. Let's say somebody else who was a crazy freak athlete that came out, I don't want to. I would say Jamarcus Russell, but not as good of a passer. Jamarcus Russell still was like crazy good stats in college. Anthony Richardson does not have good stats in college. We keep acting like this guy is.
All right, so let's be honest. It's Josh Allen.
The ceiling is Josh Allen. That's the natural comp, but the floor is so low. We're talking like Justin Fields last year before last, I should say. That's but like for his whole career type of thing. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. With that out of the way, let's start trashing on these terrible, terrible teams. Let's see. I think I have to pull up my list. We start off with one of our favorite teams, Minnesota Vikings.
Share your screen.
I'm not gonna share my screen because then it gets in the way.
I can't see it. How am I supposed to know what we're talking about? You're not announce it.
I'm gonna tell you, and then I'll tell you the win total. It's Minnesota Vikings over 8.5.
Under. Move on.
I was gonna say, can we just take a minute to talk about? I'm excited about Brian Flores, but man, did this team overachieve last year, and we saw it in the playoffs when they got smoked by the Giants.
And they haven't done much.
To get smoked by the Giants.
Oh, sick! They let Adam Thielen go. Okay, big move.
They got Justin Jefferson, and he'll rack up some numbers. But I am with you. Under on the Vikings. They were a one-hit wonder. They had fun last year, and it's over. Number 2, another purple people eater, Baltimore Ravens. Now, so much of this comes down to Lamar Jackson,
Yeah.
right? Do you think he is a Raven? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. So then would you take the over then? Because it's 8.5. That's low for a Lamar Jackson led team.
If he's what's their division?
That's Browns, that's Vikings, that's Browns, Bengals, and Steelers. It's a good division.
Steelers suck. 4 losses for the other 2. They might split with Cleveland. 3 to 4.
Yeah, they'll split with the Steelers, and then they'll split with one of the Bengals or Browns.
I mean, if Lamar's out, it's clearly a no. But I just don't. Okay, maybe I'm going to take back what I said. I don't think it's a clear cut that he's a Raven. I just don't see anybody else giving the compensation that they want. Logically, should the Atlanta Falcons go get him? Yes. This is a no-brainer for them. But it seems like they refuse to do so. And maybe they're posturing right now and we see something happen on draft day. Arthur Smith came out and said, "Oh, well, we review every free agent in offseason, including Lamar Jackson." Okay.
If you did, you'd be getting him right now.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's one of those things like we've said before. People are waiting until after the draft because they don't have to do anything, and they can give away next year's pick instead of. I know the Colts got that top 4. We'll cover them. The Falcons top 9 or whatever.
I'm not confident in this, but I would say under.
I'm with you. I think Lamar Jackson is not a Raven. I think this is essentially the Ravens looked at their best, the player carrying their offense, and they said, "We don't trust you or believe in you." And now he's like a scoring, partner, and he's just like, "I am not happy. I'm leaving. I'm done with this."
And as of right now, they've done nothing in free agency. Nothing at all.
Also, they're holding that cap space, right? Because
Yeah.
they need to be able to match. We'll see. That I don't think there's lots of teams that could put together a deal that even if the Ravens don't do anything, they can't match. Anyways, let's go on. Seattle Seahawks. Totals 8.5. Under.
Next.
Nice and easy.
Listen,
I haven't seen a team.
I think it was you who pointed at the first half, second half of Geno Smith's stats.
Yep.
Just fell off a cliff. Like, if that's the case, you don't have a great defense anymore. You want to run the football. You got some horses on the offensive side, but I don't know.
They overachieved last year, and everyone's like, so now they're going to do that same thing again this year. And this happens all the time in the NFL, right? Half the teams that make the playoffs don't make it the following year. It's a layup. All you got to do is look at the teams that overachieved, who's going to regress down. The Seahawks are the obvious answer. They had rookies playing at B+ starter level. And they're just going to come back to earth a little bit, even if they go down to B-. That's a huge drop off.
Yeah, but they also had some weird thing happen late where they a field goal. Somebody missed a field goal. No. That was the
won. Rams. Yeah.
They won on a field goal that would have put them out and put the Lions in because they beat the Packers. So they nearly put themselves out. So people forget that too. And the Lions nearly won their way in after starting 1-6.
I'm 100% with you, dude. Just not the Seahawks. They had fun. They were good last year, and their bubble burst. All right. New England Patriots, 7.5 is the win total.
I mean, if it's Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi and it's not Lamar Jackson, under.
All right. So I think they are going to have a huge upgrade offensively by having a real offensive coordinator. They no longer have a defensive coordinator calling the plays. However, if you look at their division, you got the Bills, the Jets, and Miami. They do not have enough talent to keep up. All those teams have good players, offense and defense. The Patriots don't have good players at all on offense. They just lost Damian Harris. Like, they bring in Juju Smith-Schuster. What is your team is what I got to know. And I am underwhelmed with it all. Even if they're better coached, it doesn't matter. They do not have the manpower to overcome that. All right.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears, 7.5. I got over. I'm loving it.
This is
I'm buying
a
it.
weird one. This is a weird one because their whole division is just a joke right now. Will be a joke, I should say. I think, given that everyone will probably beat up on each other. So I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like. I'd have actually. What is the rest of their schedule? Let's look at it. Who
I was gonna say. I'll ramble while you pull it up. But this is a very, very average division, except for the Lions, who of course we love. But
all right. So who do they got? I see the Falcons on there. Okay. I see. I mean, of course, Green Bay, Carolina. Okay. I like those.
they're
Even though
playing
Carolina
the
has a
NFC
good
South, so
defense.
that gives you. There's one more. Tampa Bay. That's a layup. Congratulations, you get to beat the Baker Mayfield.
Arizona.
It's not bad. I'm telling you, I like it. I think they made good moves, and now they have a big advantage, right? They have
New Orleans is a wild card.
what do they
Commanders
have?
is a wild card.
They
Yeah,
have a
this is
first
an over
rounder.
team.
I think they have a first rounder, a second rounder. They might have 2 second rounders, but I'm liking
I think this
DJ
is an
Moore.
over.
We saw Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown have huge influence, and I don't think DJ Moore is that caliber of receiver. He's one down, but that's a huge impact for an offense that was starved for weapons. So
Fine,
I'm in.
It's dependent on what you think Justin Fields will do.
I think Justin Fields will do well enough that he'll run and get some wins. Plus, they got rid of David Montgomery. You know how big of upgrade that is? They're gonna have carries that go for more than 4 yards.
Who would they upgrade with? Deontay Foreman?
Don't care, because he can. I've seen him run past 4 yards. All right, I've never seen David Montgomery run for more than 5.
I mean, this is an intriguing team. I'm curious to know if Justin Fields will progress as a passer.
So
everyone is, but I haven't seen it yet. You got to open up past your first and second read. We've talked about that plenty of times. And otherwise, he will always be limited. Always. And do they do that with DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney? I don't know. Oh, and Chase Claypool. So,
Cole Kmet, like that's not a bad receiving core.
No, it's not. They're all under 26 too.
So I'm telling you, I like this team. And Matt Eberflus, what was he? He was the Colts defensive coordinator when they were a good team 2 years ago. So
Ryan Poles is the GM, and he went out and made some huge moves, bolstered their defense. I think he went out and got some offensive linemen too. But
yep.
Again, you just said Justin Fields. Here's the car. Here's the keys to the Lamborghini. Just drive. Can he drive? I don't know that. I just don't
I know that if the Lamborghini breaks down, he can run fast. I've seen it.
Yeah. Does that win games though? I don't.
In that division where we just picked the Vikings to have the under, and spoiler alert, if you looked at the thumbnail, another team in that division is going to hit their under. So I think it could happen. I think they got 4 divisional wins. They only need to find 4 wins elsewhere. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if Geno Smith could do it with the Seahawks, Justin Fields can do it with the Bears.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on then. Las Vegas Raiders, 7.5. They go out, they get this team has been making moves left and right, and it is still at 7.5 because 1, the division's great. 2, Jimmy G's their starter. They're rumored to be going up for Anthony Richardson, but I think I heard someone else say that's not a real thing. So I don't know what they're doing at all.
They hosted Will Levis today. They hosted Bryce Young. last week. They posted all the top 4 quarterbacks.
I mean, they
Yeah.
have they're 8 or 9 in the draft, so it's like they have a reasonable pick to move up, but you're not going like. I don't.
One of those guys is going to fall to you. I mean, one of those guys is going to fall to you, plain and simple.
Yeah, but you don't want to draft someone that falls, right? Because it's like, hey, everyone's looking at this person. You know, you have 8 people ahead of you in line. They all say no. There's something wrong with that, right?
Yeah. It's interesting as I saw someone compare Will Levis today to think Matt Stafford. He's Matt Stafford when AJ Green was there. That was his 21 season. He's Matt Stafford without AJ Green there at Kentucky with subpar receivers. So there was a gas up. It was a total column to gas up Levis. Mm-hmm. It seems like Mel Kiper wrote it. Mel Kiper is a big Levis guy, but I don't know, man.
Hard division, AFC team. I'm just not trusting them. There's too much talent in the AFC, and Josh McDaniels is not a good coach. Like,
I think it's an under for McDaniels.
Yep. All right, Atlanta Falcons, one of your favorites.
I don't even remember the line.
7.5 is the total.
Under. Unless they get Lamar, under.
Dude, they overachieved so much last year with a run-first game when they have 2 top 10 picks at receiver.
Under until they will be under until they get a better coach. Under.
If they had Lamar Jackson in their offense that they ran last year, I'd buy it. But that's the only guy I would buy. I'm with you. Desmond Ridder is the guy Arthur Smith supported, and they paid Taylor Heineke to be the backup. Like, I like Heineke, but you run different offense.
They say that. That's a lot of coachallese right now. That's a lot of coach speak right now.
Yeah. All right. Here's one. This is an interesting one. Los Angeles Rams, 7.5 is the win total. What do you think?
Over. 2 wins from the Seahawks. 2 wins from the Cardinals.
Don't matter.
Maybe you split with San Francisco. Maybe. There's 5.
I'll give you 4 divisional wins total.
Yeah.
But
4 is probably
it's just so interesting because last year they were 3-3, had their bye week, and then ended the season 2-9.
Well, they shut down everyone and just said, "Hey, you guys suck. We're gonna, or you guys are really hurt. We're gonna get rid of you."
And I also think you were on this. I people know I'm a Jalen Ramsey fan, but you are on the fact that he is not as great as his name is, and they got rid of him. I don't think it's going to be as far of a drop off as what people are thinking. I think 7.5 seems a bit low for this team. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah, the wheels fell off. Everything went miserable. But I think I'm with you.
Everyone's back. Okay,
Cooper
I think
Kupp, Matt Stafford. Yeah,
everyone's back. Sean McVay came back. I think they're still out to prove something. I'm not saying playoff team, and I'm definitely not saying Super Bowl. I'm saying over 7.5. This is a 9-win team, maybe 10.
9 wins is the playoffs. This is an 8-win team.
Okay, basically I'm saying they are a borderline playoff team.
Yeah, they are. That's fair. The NFC is just such a joke that Matt Stafford, I made the case Derek Carr's top 3-4. Matt Stafford's another guy, top 3-4 in passer.
Guy can still throw when he doesn't have a broken neck or broken elbow.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So you have a top 5 quarterback in your conference. Then you have Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in your conference. Like, good stuff happens. Cooper Kupp, people forget that, he's roughly the best receiver in the NFL still. So,
yeah.
All right. Next up, one I love. Tennessee Titans, 7.5. Under, baby. Under. This thing's going down. They're finally ripping everything to shreds here.
I think this is an under too. I can't support Vrabel. I want to.
I 100% support Vrabel to be the coach again next year. But they're gonna win a BS game against the Jags or something this year, where it's like Tennessee comes in 2-9, and then they beat the brakes off of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But that's the game they're gonna have, and they're gonna end a 5-win team. So,
They're keeping Derrick Henry supposedly.
do you know why they're keeping Derrick Henry? It's the same reason Browns have Nick Chubb and
Can't trade him.
Vikings have Dalvin Cook. No one wants
Can't
a
trade
$13
him.
million running back. Austin Eckler tried to get out. He couldn't get out. And I think he is the most valuable of those guys because he can fit into many systems.
He's got the least tread. He's got the least tread.
He's got a good amount of use. All right,
Fine, but he's not between tackles.
that's okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he'll fit in too, like as a pass catcher elsewhere.
Yeah.
But the problem is running backs, top end running backs are probably worth $7-8 million, and you're talking Marquez Valdes-Scantling is an $11 million, $12 million player. This is just a bad time to be a running back. You can give me those eyes. That's what the Chiefs paid him. Juju Smith-Schuster made $9 million last year, and I'm telling you that top end running backs, 300 touches a year, that's only worth $8 or $9 million at the most. It's insane. It's a real tragedy. I hope things get better for them and they change how the contracts work, but we'll see. All right, next up, number 1 overall pick, Carolina Panthers, 7.5 wins.
Under.
Does this depend on who they draft?
Yes. 100%.
How much so?
If they draft, all right, so we'll do a sensitivity. If it's Andy Dalton, under. If it's Anthony Richardson, under. If it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, ugh. If it's Bryce Young, man,
Dude, it's hard, I know. That's what I'm thinking.
if it's Bryce Young, it's over. If it's CJ Stroud, it's over.
I'm with you. Underrated is the Buccaneers are in this division with Baker
Yeah,
Mayfield
Bucs
as a
are in
starter.
it. Saints are in it.
Those will split with the Saints. And then who's Panthers?
And
Saints,
Atlanta.
Atlanta. And yeah.
Atlanta.
We trash Atlanta all the time. Of course.
Atlanta. So you're going to eke out 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah, I hate their weapons right now. Like DJ Chark, Adam Thielen. Why? Like
it's
get
something.
young guys to complement your rookie
this is like the GM down in Miami who like traditionally like picks up like injured players that have upside.
Mhm.
Chark fits that mold. Thielen fits that mold. It's not injured.
I mean,
but he's
I
just
can see
old.
that value where like you're like, all right, guy's underrated because he didn't play last year. But these guys are old, and they have.
Chark's not that old. He's 26.
All right, he's had a history of decline despite being 26 years old. I like Chark. I mean, we picked him as a fantasy flyer a couple times last year for good reason, because he's a cute little guy for a couple weeks. Like, bust out a nice 100-yard, 1 touchdown game. But
It's like
I
Zay
don't
Jones.
think.
It's like Zay Jones.
Yeah, but like Adam Thielen is now you're going to be your number 1 go-to reliable target, and you're like, that guy's he can't separate.
Chark's going to be the guy. Thielen's going to be the 2. He can't be the
That's
1.
hurtful because I have seen DJ Chark be the number 1. It is not good. It's called
He
the
was the one in
Jaguars.
Jacksonville and was very good. One season.
That team was not very good. Like he was, dude. All we said last year was the Lions need an outside threat, and Chark would have been great if he could be that reliably, but he wasn't. So no, he's not a good receiver. I like their defense.
He got hurt. Give him a break.
Again, so he got hurt just like he did the year before and the year before and the year before. And it's like I say, it's a bad move.
Something about having good seasons in Jacksonville and then leaving as a wide receiver. Allen Robinson.
Don't you talk bad about Allen Robinson. I still love him. Not picking him in fantasy again, but I still love him.
You're the only one.
Anyways, Carolina's defense is actually legit. I like them a lot. Brian Burns, I think it's JC Horn on the back end. I think they can make plays. I'm with you. If they get a good quarterback to start, so Stroud or Young, because Richardson, it's gonna be like watching Justin Fields again. He's gonna be
Levis
down.
under. I'm sorry, Levis under.
Will Levis? Can I bet under 2 wins? All right, let's go on then. Green Bay Packers. This is clearly baked in that Aaron Rodgers is gone. 7.5 is the win total. Do you believe in Jordan Love?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, this would be a 50-50. I think this is a fine line because that division is such trash or it's so open. If Jordan Love is remotely good, they've got 2 stud running backs, 1.5, I should say, 1.5 stud running backs. Christian Watson, I think, has got some pretty high upside. Dalbs is pretty decent. I think good-ish. And their defense is good-ish. It's kind of weird, but they're like pretty good. They were good in spurts last year. Mike Pettin, your former Browns fella. Yeah. Go Browns. Go Pack Go.
Hey, I'm obligated to remind people, Jalen Hurts will be behind Deshaun Watson in MVP voting through 9 weeks next year.
Enjoy. I think this is I still think this is an under. I think the top 2 folks in this one are the Lions and ironically the Bears.
I am with you. This division is, just like you said, under on the Packers, under on the Vikes, over on the Bears, over on the Lions. But the Packers don't have good weapons. Aaron Rodgers threw for he had his worst season last year, and I know he makes everything look worse because of his attitude and blah 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 blah. But I don't Christian Watson was nice, and I think he's a good speed receiver. I don't think Romeo Doubs is that great. He's a solid possession receiver, but I think they're a 2 and a 3, and I don't think Jordan Love is good enough to elevate them to where they need to win. I think they're going to have a nice defense, but their defense still has problems. It can't stop the run to save its life. And when you're not in a shootout, teams are going to be able to run right through you. So I like the Packers. I just don't see it happening for them this year. I don't believe in Jordan Love. He had a cute, I think, was it 4th quarter against the Eagles last year where people got hyped for a little bit. I'm not buying it. I'm selling Love. The reason Aaron Rodgers isn't a Packer anymore isn't because they have Jordan Love. That's all I'm saying. They're going to get someone new next year so they don't have to pay him his 5th-year roster bonus. Let's go to the other Bay, Tampa, the new Baker Mayfields. I just love betting the unders on Baker Mayfields.
Under.
It's I was going to say, you're getting...
There's a sneaky play. There are rumors that they're going to make a splash for a quarterback. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a rookie, but I think they're at 17. I want to say. I think they're at 17, and I saw somebody say something about trading for somebody that's existing today, and I can't remember who it is. It kind of made sense. Go all in, get somebody. It wasn't Jimmy G. I don't remember who it was. There was somebody that they said they might go out and get. Trade him first. What are you laughing at?
The comments, they are not appropriate to read aloud.
For who? Who are they talking about?
But I said the words, I'm selling Love, and things have kind of gotten out of hand because of Noah.
Understandable. Hey, Noah.
Oh man! All right, Indianapolis Colts 6.5. I think if you get this before the draft, it's a steal. I think you gotta take the over. So listen, I am only doing that because I am saying there is a solid chance they get Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I was gonna say if Gardner Minshew is your starter, yes, it's over. If it's Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, it's under. I don't have any. I could see them getting Lamar, but Irsay, they're having all these pre-draft meetings. Maybe it's posturing. I don't know.
Irsay is
wants
erratic.
to build in the draft.
No, who's their GM? He wants to build in the draft. Irsay's a crazy man, and
Okay,
I think
Irsay didn't do anything. Irsay's never traded for a big time quarterback. Philip Rivers, do not say Philip Rivers.
so.
Do not say
No,
Phillip
I'm
Rivers.
not. All right, so I'm not saying big time, but they have made moves 3 years in a row. Philip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. They have actively pursued fixing their quarterback position. I think they look up. They say, okay, top 2 guys are gone. We're going to sit at 4, wait to get Richardson. I think someone's going to leapfrog them, and they're going to be looking at Will Levis, and they're going to say, no, thank you. Let's
fair.
go get they
Lamar.
have a cheap team. Let's go get Lamar. Let's give away our 2 picks the following years. We have Lamar Jackson. We have Jonathan Taylor. Now we can run like
Oh yeah,
options.
Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen's your head coach. So
Shane Steichen, that's the Jalen Hurts
yeah.
last year offense. All you
Yeah.
need is to find. If that happens, you're giving away 2 first-round picks the next 2 years. I don't know how you do it.
I guess I never thought about it that way. I forgot about Shane Steichen. I forgot that he could maybe do this, and I think it's actually a benefit for Pittman. I think it's actually a benefit for Pittman because he can hold one. He can hold one wide receiver. He can make one wide receiver fantasy relevant, like significantly. Bateman was on a pretty breakneck pace for the first 3 games or 4 games or whatever.
Well, and you're gonna get the Devonta Smith effect from last year. I don't even know if that's a good description, but you're gonna get a guy who gets 5 targets a game, but they're gonna be the play action 30-yard passes that he can break into a touchdown. So you're not gonna get a heavy possession offense.
I think that's a good fit.
So they gotta fix their O-line. But in this scenario, you get a top 4 pick, you get Will Anderson on your team, and then you get to use your picks to build around. I think it is the best ace in your back pocket if you're looking all right, we didn't get Richardson.
Who's going to jump him? Who's going to jump him?
Honestly, someone that's really stupid, like the Raiders.
Who?
So
okay.
Like I said, someone said the Titans might jump, the Raiders. I don't even know who else. I'd have to look and see because it comes down to draft capital too. What do you have available to give up? They might just look and say we don't like the quarterbacks, and I doubt that. Actually, I doubt that. If only 2 go before their 4th pick, they're definitely taking 1. If 3 go, they don't though. So, all right, next team. We're down to our last 2. These are the bottom win totals. Arizona Cardinals, 5.5 wins.
I got to see who's on their schedule.
I am going to make this very easy. Under. Do you know why? Because their team is the worst. They're pretty bad. They're giving up Nuke. If they give up Nuke, it's definitely the under. Because I don't believe in any So last year their top 4 receivers were Robbie Anderson, Nuke, Hollywood, AJ Green, and Zach Ertz. And Rondale Moore. 3 of those are gone. Nuke might be gone. AJ Green's gone. Robbie Anderson's gone. And you're going to tell me you're going to be fielding Hollywood Brown, Zach Ertz, and Rondale Moore?
Yeah, they do have a pretty easy schedule, though. Houston, Atlanta, Baltimore, Giants, Seattle, Pittsburgh. I mean, what was that, 5, 6? What's their win total?
5.5.
I mean, I think it's under, but you got
it's also, we made fun of their coach for his Rondale Moore. You're going to be doing this thing.
Weird dude. Weird fella. Weird fella.
I don't like the Eagles defensive coordinator going elsewhere. One, I thought the Eagles did not run a good defense. They did not have a creative scheme. It was very blatant what they were going to do. They're going to rush 4 and sit in coverage. And it's nice when you can do that because you have the best defensive line in football. Well, now you have the worst. So are you going to make something work or are you going to just not switch up anything? Because once someone beat it, he had no answers. See 38 points from the Chiefs, who, by the way, roasted them on the exact same play for touchdowns twice. You don't make adjustments. I don't like that. Anyways, last pick, Houston Texans. Got to end on a high note. I'm taking the over.
What's the number?
5.5.
So you got the Titans.
Colts and Jags.
Colts, Jags.
and you get a free win against the Cardinals.
Yeah. I think that's an over.
Dude,
that's
I
an
think we when D'Amico Ryans got hired, we said that guy is going to make them a 7-win team just out of effort.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Robert Saleh. We just play tough because I'm a defensive coach and we know when teams can't handle getting hit in the mouth, so we're going to hit this team in the face as hard as we can.
Fighting Dan Campbell's, the Fighting
yeah.
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, and then I believe in Young or Stroud to be a functioning enough quarterback.
So like this is a difference between like winning QBs and like fantasy relevant QBs. I mean, I think these guys will turn in maybe a couple of top 10 fantasy seasons, but it's like the Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, Alex Smith effect where they'll be good. Derek Carr, they'll be good, have long careers. They're not going to ever be like elite top 5 fantasy guys. They'll win games. I think they'll win games.
So I think the biggest thing here is those are the two that are least likely to lose you games. And I mean, like, they're going to pick up enough third downs. They're going to play at a manageable pace. They're not going to have a 70-yard play followed up by 2 interceptions. Yeah. So I think I just like Young and Stroud, accurate, mobile enough to create things. And
we can talk about like difference. I think we've talked about it plenty, but the difference between like fantasy and real life wins and losses. Jimmy G is a winner. Not great in fantasy. So I think there'll be winners, and I think there'll be, Alex Smith type floors. If you remember a guy named Jeff Garcia,
former Browns quarterback Jeff Garcia.
I think it's weird. I saw some highlights and I was like, Bryce Young Jeff Garcia could move around. He wasn't like overly fast, but he was pretty athletic for who he was. And I feel like Bryce can be like that.
I think the best analogy was you get Russell Wilson pocket like awareness, but I don't expect him to take off, Yeah. So I like that a lot. I like the fact that he's just a very accurate thrower. And I wish the Texans had more weapons. I'm sure they're probably going to grab some in the draft. They got a few picks. So we'll see what happens there.
Supposedly, there's a chance they go offense. Would surprise me because they have D'Amico Ryans, but supposedly there's a chance they go Bryce and JSN.
I would love that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I would. So I take that, and defensively, I would let Ryan's scheme and attitude just revamp what we had because they don't have players. That's the bottom line. You just start fishing rounds 2 to 4. You get everything you can to try to make things better. But that's it. We've given opinions on every team in the NFL now, and you know what? They were all right. Don't even worry about the math on the overs and unders we picked because it's probably impossible to have that many wins or losses. But all those picks are right.
March Madness in April.
I can't wait to do this after the draft. It's going to be fun to see how much these lines move because I know teams like we just said, Colts, Texans, Panthers, they're all going to go crazy based on whatever happens in the draft.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know who you think is going to have good season, bad season, player, team, anything. We just like to hear from people.